And I was like, wow, that's flabbergasting. That's not us. I mean, we're a simple brand that brings back great memories. I think we probably started to overthink it a little bit as a brand. Just forgot what our niche was in society. And I think that there's a lot of great mom and pop dine-in restaurants out there, but there are no major chain dine-in restaurants like us. And we should be taking advantage of that.
Welcome to the Franchise Hot Seat Podcast, where we talk about all things franchising. Now, here's your host, Dr. John P. Hayes.
My guest today is Tim Sparks, president of Dalan Corporation, one of the largest Pizza Hut franchisees in America. And I recently read an article about Tim that described him as a businessman who is, quote, betting on the past to lead him into the future, end quote. That's a fascinating description because while many restaurant operators are chasing technology and automation and the next big trend, Tim is doing something very different. He operates nearly 100 Pizza Hut restaurants across 11 states. And after more than 40 years with this brand, he's become one of its most passionate stewards. But Tim is not a typical franchisee. He's restoring many of the features that generations of customers, like me, remember fondly. Tiffany-style lamps, checkered tablecloths, classic arcade games, the iconic red roof, and the dine-in experience that made Pizza Hut a destination rather than simply a place to pick up dinner. Why would a successful franchisee invest time and money bringing back elements that much of the restaurant industry left behind years ago? And more importantly, what does that decision tell us about customers, brands, franchising, perhaps even the American culture itself, as well as something that I discuss every semester in the classroom? Hey, this is franchising. Success is built on franchisees following the franchisor's system. Tim, are you following Pizza Hut's system? We're going to find out about that, explore these questions and more. Welcome to my podcast, Tim.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Hayes. I'm excited to be here.
Great. So it seems that everybody else is chasing the future. Tim's betting on the past. Why?
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't tell you how many times we've been in a situation in the restaurant where technology has actually held us back. And I'm kind of wishing we had the old pads we filled out. We hung up the ticket, the cook made it, brought it to the cut table. And nowadays, when technology goes south, it's a problem. It's a big problem, and it creates a lot of headaches in the stores. But I think the biggest thing for us with this movement is that, well, I grew up going to Pizza Hut, right, as a family. I mean, my dad was in the Air Force, and we went. And there's something about our dine-in assets that takes you back to, I can't say it's better time, but to me it was. And apparently was to a lot of people.
Yeah, me too.
As you move to the future, and I was visiting our locations in Kentucky the last couple days, and we have 3 or 4 classics there. And again, just even with all this attention, every time I walk into one, I truly get excited. I mean, I just love it. I have to comment, and I own the damn things. It's like, man, I love this, And so other people are doing it too, and then we went into one that wasn't a classic, right? And again, I looked at it. It's not. There's not anything wrong with it. It's just not your expectation when you come to a Pizza Hut. It's different, and that is what we were chasing. And when you say, you have to do, the franchisees do have to do what the franchisor says. So without their blessing, I couldn't have done this. And to be honest, the original idea was theirs. I just ran with it, and but boy, it resonates with everybody. And while we're sitting there, it's like every single location, because I talk about pizza being a gathering. It's a gathering food, like. Yeah. Family gets together, a team gets together, or classroom gets together, whatever the case may be. As we visit these classic locations, every single one had some kind of gathering going on. I mean, what's the window? I'm in each store an hour and a half, right? Move on to the next one. And what are the odds? There's, table of 8, table of 10, table of 12, having a good time. and it gives me goosebumps when I see it. And it's always worked. It worked when I was a kid. It worked when I was a young RG restaurant general manager, and I really thought it would work today. And believe it or not, this is a process that's been in place for a while now, and this didn't happen overnight. Our first location we did in 2018 in Dahlonega, Georgia. So once we saw that, we saw those results. We really went after hard. And not just me, but my wife does all the asset things, and and the results are there. I mean, you can't not see it when you walk in. You know, I mean, it's not like I'm going to share our P&Ls with everybody, but it works, man. I mean, and when you look at our brand, we were built off of the Dine-In business. That's what we were all about.
Okay.
And once we stopped focusing on that as a brand, we became equal to our competitors. We have delivery, we have the carryout, delivery and carryout. Well, Dine-In is our advantage, right? I mean, that's our big advantage. And so it wasn't hard for me to make the decision to go back retro and quit worrying about trying to make it look like a 25th century Pizza Hut that's in the future. That's not what most of our guests want.
So let's go back pre-franchising. Pizza Hut's not the only franchise you've owned, but was there a time, and I'm sure there was, when you would have never considered franchising, didn't know anything about franchising? People may have even told you, stay away from franchising. You got to do what they tell you to do, and you can never get out of it, and you pay a royalty for the rest of your life. Where were you when you discovered franchising and decided to get in?
Well, I was, if you look at my Facebook profile, I went to school of hard knocks. So I started washing dishes at a Pizza Hut in Hawaii when I was 18 years old. And that's what got me into the brand. Really, it was just a job at the time. A year later, I moved upstate New York. That's when I started working for Dalan. So I learned it from the inside out. I was fortunate enough to meet our Dalan partners early on. And it was a group of guys. Dalan, it stands for Dale, Albert, Larry, and Norm Development.
Okay.
So, yes. So I got the opportunity to meet them at an early, impressionable age. I just really had a lot of respect for them. And then I heard the Pizza Hut story, if you will. It was Frank and Dan Carney. And the D in the word Dalan stands for Dale Wiggins. And it was Frank and Dan Carney started the first Pizza Hut, and four of their buddies from their frat house in Wichita State, and Dale was one of them. So we go all the way back to the first one. Okay. So I had a real good insight of how this worked, how Pizza Hut started, and then how they started a franchise. And our company and our original owners were very involved in that process. So I got a on-school education, or on-job education of how it worked. Oh. And so it was very intriguing to me for sure. And then as we started to look at other things, again, very fortunate to be with Dalan at the time, where we tried TJ Cinnamon's, Rental stores, Panera Breads, Red Hot Blue Barbecue. We've done other things. So you start to acquire that knowledge of how it works, what doesn't work. Yeah. And it was, great time in my life, because I was a sponge in the business world at the time and kind of soaked up all that. That's how I really learned about franchising.
But when you bought Pizza Huts, you bought memories. Tell us about that. What made you realize nostalgia could be a business strategy?
Well, once I saw it, I saw it with my own eyes. When Pizza Hut initially came to us and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this retro thing back in around 2017, but we want to do a test. Are you willing to test this? And it's like, yes, I am absolutely willing to test this. And what I didn't like, is that it became hard to identify Pizza Hut because we had so many different palettes around the country. And you never knew what you were going to get. Literally, it was always going to be different, just about, right? Because they were changing it every 3 or 4 years. And I wanted our guests to have an expectation and then deliver on that once they came in, especially the ones that were traveling. So it was an easy decision. Once we got going with it, I immediately saw the impact. I immediately saw the results. I fell in love with it. So as we moved forward, every year that we had a Pizza Hut that was eligible to get a remodel, I would do it in a classic, right? And so that's how we got to 2006. Now we have 38, and we've got about 12 more that we can do. And I believe I hope that there's stipulations about whether you can make it a classic or not, depending on the building shape and the size and the population of the county. And so I'm hoping, or the town. So I'm hoping that maybe Pizza Hut will maybe lower the standards so that more restaurants can become classics on the inside.
So how does the P&L of a classic compare to what most of us go into today when we go to Pizza Hut, if we're going to Pizza Hut?
Yeah, our dine-in sales completely change our P&L. I mean, the initial future forward thought was, well, if we only do delivery and carry out, we can do it in 1,200 to 1,400 square foot spaces. It's going to lower our fixed costs. We're going to make more money. But what you lose is that experience. And for me, when I was an RGM, I spent more time at the tables talking to my guests, right, than I did in the back making pizza. And what that does, it creates frequency, right? People want to come in, they want to be recognized, they want to have a conversation with you and your servers and et cetera. Whereas in a delivery scenario, you don't even see the individual. And in a carryout scenario, you're trying to turn and burn them because there's people in line, and you really don't get to have that personal relationship. So the dine-in creates those relationships. Our average unit volume compared to the rest of the country is significantly higher than the average pizza volume.
So you think America needs more family dinner tables, and what does Pizza Hut have to do with that?
Well, they do. I mean, I grew up in the Air Force, and if you weren't home by 5 for dinner, you're in a little bit of trouble. And so I was used to eating dinner with my family, and then running the Pizza Hut early on, I saw how important that was as well. So yeah, I think that I think it is important. I know I got quoted. Well, I didn't get quoted. I said it on film on CBS. But yeah, listen, it's great to see these families come in to our stores and our restaurants, and I saw it again the last few days. And they come in and they literally, I can't explain it, but they put their phones down and they start having conversations. And I think COVID taught me that, meaning, that's when I realized we really are social animals, and we don't thrive when we're alone or lonely, and to provide a space where people come and get together, have a conversation, have fun. I mean, to be honest with you, the biggest problem we have right now is when you get those groups together, they're kind of loud because they're having so much fun.
Yeah.
And, it's not like a crying kid in the corner, though. It's people having fun, and it becomes contagious. Yeah. So yeah, I think that the dining rooms are important to that, and I think our country, I think our world, it needs that. If we could get everybody into one of my Pizza Huts, right, from around the world, we could all just have a good time, get along, right? Perfect
point, and right on track of what I want to bring in here, because I'm sure you and Pizza Hut have never heard this. I spent 7 years teaching in Kuwait in the Middle East, and I loved that experience. And when there were a lot of other American families there, but there were Indian families, there were Bangladeshi families, there were Kuwaiti families. And when you wanted a family experience, where did you go in Kuwait, where you can get some great Middle Eastern food? You went to the Pizza Hut down on the water for a family experience. That always caught my wife and I off guard, saying, what are we doing here in Kuwait? We're going to go eat Pizza Hut? Well, we did that back home with our kids. Now, the question I have about that, so it's universal, this need for the family dinner table and the need to relate to one another and put the phones down. So you're on to something there. But if we didn't have baby boomers who remember those experiences, and we just had Gen Zs who would rather go in and pick it up and take it home, or so it seems, is this going to last? Will the classic last?
Well, I think the interesting thing about that is that what really got this, not the classic concept started, but what made it go viral, are those younger generations coming in and filming these Pizza Huts. This isn't baby boomers coming in and doing these TikToks and all these things that went viral online. In our Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania location, we were having 2 and 3 a week come in. And normally we're pretty strict about people coming in and filming, but, these are all positive things, and we were letting people do it. And Dahlonega, Georgia, Homosassa, Florida, those are the 3 that really kind of took off. So it's not the the boomers that are coming in and doing this. It's the younger generation that really got it going. So obviously, well, yesterday, I mean, this is really odd for me, right? I'm just a restaurant operator. So for us to have over 3.5 billion impressions is odd for me. I mean, it's weird. I don't know how to, I don't know how to explain it, right? I'm not a rock star. I wasn't trained for this, but so I went in one of our stores yesterday, and this young server, she's probably 19 or 20, and she was so excited. She goes, "My God, are you Tim Sparks?" And I go, "I am." She goes, "Gosh, can I get a selfie with you?" I go, "Absolutely," So, and so we talked about it later, right? And I said, "So I don't get it. You weren't alive during this era,
right?
You've never seen this." And the crazy thing is, it was one of our locations that is not a classic, and she was just, "Please make this a classic." So it's obviously resonating with all age groups. And I think that, like, for me, my parents brought me to Pizza Hut, and then we used to go to Shakey's too, and then so it impressed, it had it influenced me to then I bring my kids in. And so that kind of continued to happen. And then once we got away from it, we kind of almost lost a generation, but boy, they're still coming in. A lot of things come full circle. And to your point, a lot of, you got DoorDash and Uber Eats, and you can get anything delivered now.
Right.
And at some point, I think it's starting to get a little old for some folks. It's super convenient if that's what you need, but if you really want to have a nice night out or time together, it's nice to go somewhere, be taken care of, and in a good environment. So it's working for all genres for sure.
So the restaurant business, it's not about pizza. It's about how people feel. At least that's my interpretation of what you've been talking about in People magazine and Inc. magazine. How did you learn that lesson?
Experience. I think somebody asked me if I was to have 3 people at a table, there's 4 of us, who would it be, alive or dead? And one of those options, one of my choices was Walt Disney, because he wasn't selling a product, he was selling an experience and a memory, right? I mean, obviously Disney sells a lot of shirts and stuffed animals, but that's not what he was about back when he started. Mm-hmm. And I find that for especially our classics, especially now, I don't know that I understood that back when I was 20 years old running a classic restaurant, but I understand it now, and that's what people are looking for when they come in. We still have to have great food. I mean, but if we give the service level we should, and that Pizza Hut looks like a classic, like it should, people really have a great experience and a memory. And I before we got on here, I was reading, we get customer comments every day, right? We get all of the Google and all that. And every day, I mean, I get so many great comments that it's just easy to smile at them, because that's what people talk about. They're talking about the experience they had. Certainly, I want them to throw in here and there how great the pizza was. No. But truly, if you can sell a great experience, and it creates a good memory, the food almost becomes second nature. I do think we have the best pizza in the country, but I also know that if we deliver it that way, it's going to work for sure. Yeah.
So the Pizza Hut brand, it's about 70 years old, but you, as we've been talking about, are attracting a new generation of customers. What did you do? Describe to us, how do you make an old brand feel new again?
Well, I've always said I'm lucky. It's good. It's always better to be lucky than good, I think. I mean, it's good to be good, but I think I just understood what people wanted out of a Pizza Hut, because I'd been around the brand 43 years. And I mean, I go all the way back to when I was in Hawaii. Perfect example was when the crew of Magnum PI came in, right? And so they come in, they sit down, there's 15 of them, and they're all out there just hooting and hollering and having a great time together. And it just feels right? I mean, I don't think that there's anything hard to figure out. Just look around and you can see that it's the right thing to do.
So most restaurants, they want their customers to get in and get out, but you seem to want customers to stay a little longer. Why?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Well, again, because we're in such a fast-paced world. I mean, anything different, right? And especially right now, where there's so much going on with me right now, and I'm trying to still run our business and keep up with the media. And a perfect example is this: my wife and I have been visiting locations the last 3 days, and we got into Nashville last night, and we said, you know what? I just need to slow down. Let's go find a quiet place. We're not going down on and in the loud music.
No.
I just need a quiet place. Maybe have a glass of wine and just compose ourselves. And so I think it's nice to be able to go somewhere, sit down, not feel rushed. Truly, if you want your dine-in guests in and out, you've probably got a good problem. Meaning you need those seats empty, right? That's a busy restaurant. If you don't want them, listen, nobody wants to eat in an empty restaurant.
Right.
So if we've got people in seats, we want them to stay there as long as they want.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you started washing Pizza Hut dishes in the 1980s. Did it ever occur to you that you might one day own nearly 100 Pizza Huts?
No, I needed a job. And my sister knew the assistant manager at Pizza Hut, so he gave me a job, started washing dishes. I've been washing dishes about 2 weeks, and then you get that, hey, Tim, get up here. And I'm like, I don't know how to make pizza. We're going to teach you. And it was busy. We were a little short-staffed, and then I started cooking. And, back in those days, we didn't have actual dishwashers. Like, I was the dishwasher, right? We didn't have anything to push. Yeah, these were the washing those dishes, right? And that was back in the day. So still washed many dishes in my career, but that got me going. When I left Hawaii, went back to New York, when I started working for Dalan, I did have a conversation with our district manager at the time. He talked to me a little bit about the bonus system. And, to a 19-year-old kid, that sounded like pretty good money. So I applied myself pretty hard. And then what really got me started to understand like this was going to be a career, when I realized what some of these multi-unit supervisors were making, I was having trouble with my beer cost, and this the advice I got from one of these above unit leaders was to just go buy a keg and add it to your inventory, and the $30 keg you'll make your $500 bonus, and literally that day I remember thinking, I'm better than this guy. I mean, I'm already better than this guy, because that's not how you fix a problem, right? Yeah. And so that's when I thought, okay, maybe I should pursue this. And then I went to my first big meeting where that was the first opportunity I had to meet some of our partners, and that's when kind of everything changed.
So everybody talks about innovation today, particularly in particularly in franchising, but restaurant franchisees as well. But meanwhile, you're bringing back the red roofs and Pac-Man. So what are the other folks missing at this point?
Well, part of the heartache of what I'm bringing back is that there's still some forward-thinking technology in it, right? Because our Pac-Man machines actually have 60 different games on them.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Whereas back in the day that they didn't have that.
It was just Pac-Man.
Right. If you look at what's on the walls, it's not actually the decor from back in the day. It's pictures of Book It and those types of things that were happening back in the day. So it's not identical, but the key elements, the Tiffany lights, right? They have to be there. The red cups. The checkerboard tablecloths, those are all there, and I think that again that kind of stuff resonates with people. Gosh, I remember seeing the first time Bill Gates or whoever had it, showed how you could touch a screen and make it move and make it bigger and smaller and move things around, and I was like, wow, that's flabbergasting. That's not us. I mean, we're a simple brand that brings back great memories. I think we probably started to overthink it a little bit as a brand. Just forgot what our niche was in society. And I think that there's a lot of great mom and pop dine-in restaurants out there, but there are no major chain dine-in restaurants like us. And we should be taking advantage of that.
So one of the things that I've helped franchisees understand through the years, but this is now your story contradicts all that. People would say, well, I don't want to 1 mile radius or a 3 mile radius. I want a 15-mile radius. So and I got relatives who live 15 miles away. They're going to come to my ice cream store. They're going to come to my restaurant. And my dry cleaning, no, they're not. No, people want convenience. But people are driving hours, maybe not hours literally, but maybe so, you tell me, to visit your restaurants. So what's that about? What are they looking for?
Literally hours. I mean, go online, and Google Dahlonega Pizza Hut, Tunkhannock Pizza Hut, and read the comments. People are literally coming from hours away. So from a business perspective, why? Here's an example. Our Pizza Hut in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, has the town is 1,700. It does almost $800,000 or $900,000 more than the national Pizza Hut average.
Wow.
Those people are coming. They're coming from a long way away.
Yeah.
So it's another, again, it's a competitive advantage. It's a lot of pressure. I have some great people working for us. People come that far. They don't come that far to be disappointed. When I say 2 to 3 hours, I mean that literally. And I'm not saying it's happened once, or it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And to be an hour away is super common. When we did that first CBS deal, when he showed up, when I tell people about that, they're like, okay, yeah, it happens, I'm sure, here and there. I said, go talk to every table, right? Go and see what you find.
Yeah.
And same way when the New York Times came up, they were like, holy cow, you're not kidding. These like 4 of these tables came from over 2 hours away. I'm telling you, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, right? I'm not only getting my 3-mile ring or hopefully my 10-mile ring. I'm getting a 100-mile plus ring.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, a lot of people think that old brands just fade away, but you're determined to prove them wrong. So, well, what's the secret in this?
I think when you're talking about, eating over pizza overseas, well, a lot of people don't realize how many Pizza Huts are out of our country. And actually, if you talk, like pepperoni in the United States is on about 70% of the pizzas. Yeah. Pepperoni isn't even a top 10 in world topping. Right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So, oops, sorry, say the question one more time. I forgot.
Yeah, it was, while a lot of people think that brands fade away, yeah, you're proving them wrong, or you're determined to prove them wrong. And right, how are you doing that? What's the secret?
Right. Well, I think I wish I could educate everybody to understand that when you look at a brand that is as big as Pizza Hut, especially globally, people perceive it as this big corporate entity, right? And some people perceive that as a negative thing. And what they don't understand is here domestically in the United States, over 99.5% of the Pizza Huts are owned by folks like me. Yeah. And until last year, the brand itself, Pizza Hut itself, Yum Pizza Hut only owned under 10 locations. Mm-hmm. So, you're not really, when you go into you go into Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, that's not a big corporate entity. That is Tim Sparks and some other folks that, just trying to make a dime. And we just happen to have a large corporate name. And for our locations, we're more in smaller town America, and we try and present it that way. I mean, when people come in, we know their names, we know what they're going to order. They come in to see us, and again, I hate working out of an office. I love being in the field where I am right now, because it just warms my heart every time I'm in the stores and I hear customers come in and people know them by name right away. It's hi John, hi Tom, hi Mary. So that's kind of what we try to present, rather than being a big, large, faceless chain, because we really aren't. I mean, if you sat in a room with the top 10 franchisees at Pizza Hut, you would just be amongst your friends. I mean, it's just a bunch of good folks, good men and women, good business people that truly care about the brand and our customers.
So, do you see yourself and your wife as a couple franchisees who you're restoring a piece of American culture?
I'm starting to think we're having a play in that, yes, just based on everything that's been going on. I'm not going to tell you that was the plan. I mean, but if it helps our world get better and it gives people here in our country a place to go and get away from it all for a few minutes and actually enjoy some of that, old culture that we had back in the day, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
How responsible are you for the reinvention? The classic is a reinvention of Pizza Hut. So your idea, Pizza Hut's idea, collaboration, talk about that, because generally people avoid franchising because they might not want to follow the system.
Yeah, as a franchise, sometimes it is hard, because you think you have better ideas or different ideas, and we get play with the brand pretty well. We have we have a board of it's called IPHFHA board. That's the International Pizza Hut Franchise Holders Association. So they speak for us to the brand. The brand speaks to them. They speak every day, literally. So we try and stay on top of that. For the classics, that's what I said. It wasn't my idea. Pizza Hut came to us in about 2017 and presented it. I said yes. We did 2 very quickly. I saw the results. And as we move forward, if we could do a classic, we did it. The brand got away from it. They moved on to the next design, if you will. We didn't like it at all. I don't think anybody really cared for it. But not everybody jumped on the classic bandwagon. So there's 155 in the country right now. We have 38 of them. So obviously not everybody bought in. They are now. Yeah. But it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, I don't want to do this next latest and greatest. I want to keep doing these classics. And they did let us keep doing that. Unfortunately, they stopped producing the Tiffany lights. So we've got a few classics that don't have those. But anyway, now with all this attention, we're bringing back we're getting the Tiffany lights again. And we're going to be able to go back and retrofit the ones that didn't get them initially. So the attention's certainly been good for us as well. But that was an opportunity as a franchisee that the brand did actually let us continue to do these, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah.
Because it's super impactful to us as a company, Dalan.
So they came up with the idea. They offered it. You and some other franchisees took them up on it. For some reason, it seems like they pulled back from that with other ideas. So does that send mixed messages to you and other franchisees? Well,
I think what happens is I've been doing it 43 years, right? So I've been around this brand a very long time. I've seen what worked. I was part of it. The problem with a larger company like Yum or Pizza Hut is that they do have a lot of churn at the top, whether people are getting laterally promoted or and so you start having people come in that really don't know our history, don't understand what made us great. They don't understand that the best pizza you'll ever get is out of the oven to your table. They don't understand that that's where Pizza Hut grew, was that those are the memories people have. Burning the top of your mouth, right? When you throw a pizza in a box in a delivery pouch, it changes the texture, it changes the flavor. It's still gonna be good. Don't get me wrong, it's pizza. I mean, it's still good, yeah. but it's not that memory. And so when you have somebody come in that's been running a different brand or wasn't an operator, they were an attorney or they were an accountant, and in my opinion, they shouldn't be running our brand. It should be operators that make these decisions, and so you have that churn. So whoever came in after the classic thing happened probably said, hey, we should be doing this, not that. But fortunately, at least they let us keep doing it. So
good. So what do you want people to remember 20 years from now? What do you hope people remember about your classics?
Well, I hope they have the same memories I have, from 40 years ago, right? Just fond memories of going out, eating with my family, and being together. And then all the, the times, playing sports on base, we would go off base. You go there with your teammates and as a group. And then for me, it became a job. And I think I even enjoyed that more because then I got to meet people in the dining room. So I just it was a fun gathering place, a place of community where everybody, came together and just had a good time.
So some say that AI may become the greatest wealth building tool that's available to ordinary Americans. What do you think about AI and the influence that we can expect?
AI is very interesting to me. When you see things like the Terminator back in the 1980s, and you think, wow, if that ever happens, that is so far off in the future. And son of a gun, if we don't have robots doing crazy things, right? And we've got AI that, we were talking about the other in the car drive between locations. And I was talking about, man, back in my day when we had to do a report, my family had an encyclopedia, so
right.
so I could actually find some data, and now, golly, it's kind of scary to me. I don't know what it'll do to the restaurant industry. I mean, things as simple as kiosks and things like that have certainly changed, like the McDonald's or Panera Bread, or any place where you go in and you just go to the counter and order. Now you don't. But see that. I mean, that could happen in a Pizza Hut, but that's not going to happen in a Dine-In Pizza Hut, because we want the servers, we want the interaction, we want that social point to be able to, go out and actually speak to a person. And I got locked out of my email yesterday, and son of a gun was I getting because I want to talk to a person, please. Could I just get a person to help me?
Impossible, right?
So I don't know where AI is going to take us. It's a pretty interesting phenomenon. I tell you this, if I was the smartest person in the world, we wouldn't have AI. Not because there's anything wrong with it, just because I'm not smart enough to understand how all that works.
Yeah, me too. So we're not likely to see robots making pizzas in a classic or delivering the pizza to the table. That's probably not going to happen.
So I've actually seen both of those things, believe it or not. I live in Wichita, Kansas, and I went into a Japanese steakhouse, and I was sitting at the bar just getting some food, and it was brought to me by a robot. I couldn't believe it. Holy cow. And so there's somebody, it's not us, not Pizza Hut, but I know somebody has developed some sort of a robot that actually makes pizzas. I know you won't see that in any of my stores during my lifetime, because I can't imagine what just one robot costs.
No, exactly.
But yeah, again, we're about the social interaction. I really want to keep that going. I think it's important.
What's a belief about business or entrepreneurship or franchising that almost everyone gets wrong?
The belief? Well, for me personally, a lot of people think what we do is easy. If you've never been in the restaurant business, it's like, how can it be? You just make pizza.
Right.
And that's probably one of the biggest things that I see. And that's one of the biggest things in the restaurant industry. I see why restaurants fail. People don't realize this isn't easy.
No.
And a quick story: we had a guy, our landlord in one of our Indiana towns, and I felt like our lease was way excessive, and it had been high for a very long time. So when our lease came up, I said, "Hey, we're either going to get a rent reduction or we're going to leave, because it's excessive for this town. The per square foot is not even close to what it should be." And so he wouldn't budge. So we moved out, and he decided to become a restaurateur. And he quickly found out that's a lot harder than he realized. He actually came to our new location, talked to our manager, said, "Hey, I need like 15 good people. Where are you finding your folks?" And it's like, so that would be one thing I think people understand. If you're going to franchise, it doesn't have to be restaurants, but make sure you understand what you're getting into. Have a true understanding of it. Because anything you do, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I would warn folks to be careful of is because we did Panera, we did Sonic, and I would really negotiate the expansion terms, meaning how many you have to open in X amount of time. Because I will tell you, the franchisor holds themselves to a totally different standard than what they hold the franchisee to.
Yeah.
Right. And as an example, one year in Southern Florida, we opened Panera Breads down there. We opened 6 in 1 year. And again, we're not some huge conglomerate. We're Dalan. We've got X amount of employees, and to produce that many people that fast is extremely hard. And the key is you want to do it right. And you don't want to do it just because you've got to keep up on an agreement that says you have to open X by X amount of time. So I'd be careful about that.
Okay. What do you have to say to the Gen Zs, the students who I have in the college classroom today, who are studying franchising with the idea that they might be a marketing major or a political science major or communications major, but with franchise knowledge, they have a better shot at getting a really good job. How would you advise them if they're coming into your organization? What are they missing, perhaps, that they need to do better? That would be a good start.
Well, I think, first of all, that experience is monumental to come out of school already understanding how franchises work. That's huge. From an individual perspective, it's more about who you are versus the franchise part of it, meaning I've told this to my own kids, I will tell you about 90% of the people, as you try and become successful in whatever it is you choose to do, will get out of your own. Well, they're going to get out of your way. You're really if you're truly engaged on being successful in life and a career, you're only really fighting about 10% of the people.
Yeah.
But of that 100%, make sure you're in the top 3, right? Always be in the top 3%. And then once you truly feel you're in the top 3%, then get in the top 3% of that 3%. And that's your challenge. That's when you're in the major leagues in our business or any business. But you can look around and gauge, and that's what I did early in my career with that district manager, right? I'm like, okay, well, I'm better than this guy. Mm-hmm. And he's already 2 steps ahead of me. So I'm gonna catch him quick. And so just always be your best and look at your peers and then the other thing is don't say, well, I could be better than him, but it's because this is why I can't.
Yeah.
Those types of excuses don't fly. Listen, I was 18 years old. I graduated from high school. I started washing dishes in a Pizza Hut. And so the opportunities are there for anybody. It's all about what you want to do and how you do it to make it happen.
You ever go up to your dishwashers and say, I stood where you're standing now before I owned all these Pizza Huts?
So it's a powerful message, right? Because I don't ask anybody to do anything, literally, that I've never done.
Right.
Right. I didn't come in as well. Actually, when I talked to the dishwashers, I do tell them, again, these were the dishwashers back in my day.
They got it easier
for a second.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So it makes my job easier because I didn't. I wasn't put in a position. And again, see, that's kind of the problem with the big entities is that somebody becomes the president of Pizza Hut that's ever worked at Pizza Hut. That's a problem.
No, that's a problem.
Right. To me, in any business, if you don't already know that brand, I can tell you, I can take all the business sense I have right now and take over Walmart, and I'd ruin it because I don't know how to run a department store.
Yeah.
So it ought to be somebody that actually has been on the ground.
It might be you, the next president of Pizza Hut.
Well, I would never leave Dalan, but I wouldn't mind having the side hustle.
Yeah. How about how does Pizza Hut corporate respond? I mean, you're now the face of Pizza Hut. Everybody from CBS, the major magazines. We see you. Tim Sparks he's the Pizza Hut guy.
Yeah. Well, again, we're 99.5% franchise owned. So, a lot of the franchisees have been super gracious to me recently, and to reach out and say thanks. And again, like I said, I tell you, it's better to be lucky than good, because you certainly, if there was a plan or a way to become viral, everybody'd be doing it. So again, a little bit of luck involved. I think that. When we have meetings with our folks, we get all our head managers together or our district managers together. Anytime I'm speaking in a group, which I actually just did recently at our pizza convention, I don't speak from a teleprompter. I don't, so when you get me, like right now, you've got me, or when I was on, the TV shows, it's all from my heart. And I think that resonates with people. They hear that passion in me. And I always tell people, I'll talk to you, but just be ready because I like to talk about our business.
Right. Well, that's great. How about I spent a lot of time in South Florida and time in Dallas, Texas, and some in Ohio, where I have family. Where do I have to go to get to a classic?
Well, there's 155 now. If you go to the Pizza Hut website, they actually finally put it up there because they were getting inundated with calls. And actually we did that as well. We made a list of where our 38 are. So you'd have to go and look. They're spotted all over the country, And like I said, I was coming through Kentucky. We were in 3 yesterday. Dahlonega, Georgia, Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, all the way down to Homosassa, Florida. So we've got them. We're in 11 states. We've got them all over the country too. But yeah, I would find that list because I think a lot of people actually drive by some to get to a different one.
Right.
But I think you'll start to see some more pop up now.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Tim. It was a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you. I mean, again, you can tell I'm passionate about it. If you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you. So thank you for reaching out.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Franchise Hot Seat Podcast with Dr. John P. Hayes. Tune in next time for more conversation around all things franchising.